Hi and welcome to this video where I'm going to be looking at Dubia cockroaches and Madagascan hissing cockroaches. I'm going to show you how I breed them and keep them obviously for a supply of live food for my lizards. They're an excellent source food for reptiles, nutritious, and I'll be just showing you how I keep them and breed them. Okay, as you can see, these large plastic tubs got holes drilled into the top ventilation, and I found that it wasn't really getting enough ventilation, so what I then did was cut this hole and then glued this netting down, which is basically like a mosquito netting. And I found that since then you're not getting any of the condensation inside, it's keeping well ventilated. Okay, although these Dubia cockroaches can't actually climb the sides, still keep the lid clip down just in case, you never know. As you can see in the bottom here, we've got soil. I'm using Arcadia Earth Pro soil, so it's good for a bit of humidity, but obviously doesn't get too damp. And just using these egg boxes for the time being, just to give them a place to hide. As you can see in here, we've got different sizes. We've got adult females, adult males, and plenty of little babies in there as well. So it just keeps a nice cycle going. Now with these, I always tend to feed them fresh food. So I tend to use apples, oranges, carrots, bananas, anything really, spinach. You probably want to feed these a couple of times a week, maybe 3 times a week. You don't want to put too much food in there. You want to probably balance it a bit right. You tend to find that if you're getting lots of leftovers, then reduce the amount you're putting in, because obviously as it starts to go bad, then you're going to want to remove all that bad food, because they won't touch it. So the alternative really is that you can put commercial bug diets, usually the grainy sort of food. If you do that, you're going to need to provide a source of hydration, usually in the form of bug gel or bug balls, something like that. But if you're using a fresh fruit, veg like carrots, oranges, apples, bananas, spinach, then they're going to get that moisture from the fresh fruit. So it'll eliminate the need for putting any kind of supplemental hydration in there. Probably once a week as well, maybe. If it's getting too dry in there, you might want to give it a little spray, just to keep the bit of humidity in there. Now the reason I put soil in there, I started often without soil before, but I found that it was just becoming difficult to keep on top of cleaning it. You'd have to get the roaches out, clean up all the frass out of there, which is roach poo. But with the soil, obviously, I've now introduced some springtails. Probably not going to see any in there at the moment, but they are in there, and obviously that's just to help sort of keep it clean in there and refertilise all the poo. So far, it seems to be working out quite well. And it should hopefully maintain it well and eliminate the need for having to clean it out every few weeks. But I'm probably going to look to replace these egg cartons as well with some plastic tubs at some point, just so again it's all nice and easy to clean. But the good thing with these egg cartons is obviously there's lots of places to hide. Obviously, you can see that they're all hiding in these holes here. Oh, and he's on his back. Come on, little roach, you can do it, you can do it. Maybe not. Put that down, give him something to grip onto. Like I said, the ventilation is probably the most important thing, really. Otherwise, it just gets too damp in there, and although the roaches will still breed, it just means that you're going to be cleaning it more often. So the way it's set up at the moment, obviously, it doesn't need particularly tall because obviously they can't climb. It doesn't matter if it's clear or not. Obviously, they're like it's good to have a little bit of light sometimes. I think 'cause they've got a day-night cycle, but obviously they prefer the dark, so they'll always be hiding. But I've noticed that during the day, when as long as it's not too bright, they'll come out, run around on top of the boxes. So they're fairly easy to keep, really. And the level of food that I'm putting there at the moment, it's all gone, so there's not really any wastage of food, and they're thriving in there at the moment. I started, I think, the colony with about 100 babies, 20 adult females, and about 10 adult males, I think it was. I've got 3 of these tubs now, and they're all full. And there's Dubia roaches in there of various sizes. Okay, now the other thing I'll say about breeding roaches is that you need a good temperature. So obviously, around room temperature, they'll survive. You know, you'll be able to keep them going. But if you want them to breed, then obviously you need to keep that temperature above. So probably need to be sitting in the region of mid to high 20s. If you get that, then you'll have success. They'll breed very easily for you. Won't be a problem. I keep mine on top of my vivarium. So this one you can see behind. Obviously, you get heat rising to the top of the vivarium. So I utilise that heat, put my tubs on that, and then that gives them a good temperature. So as you can see, obviously that tub's empty there. I did have some locusts in, which I'll have some more soon. But then these tubs up here, we've got Dubia roaches, and it keeps them nice and warm. Obviously they've still got that soil, so it doesn't get too warm on the bottom for them. And if they need to get a bit cooler, they can go to the top of their boxes, so they get a nice little range of temperatures. Now here we have a small colony of Giant Madagascan Hissing Cockroaches. Obviously I've eaten all the food, but normally it's use that little tray there. As you can see, we've had some babies, some of them starting to grow now. One of the adults did actually die, giving birth to some of them, but as you can see, still thriving quite well. Oh, there we can see. There we have one of the adults. But, quite cute, really. You can see their little faces. But when you pick them up, they're actually quite handleable, quite tame. Oh, as I say that, and he just runs off hissing, doing a swan dive. But no, unlike normal Dubia roaches, I'd say they're a little more easier to handle. The wheels sort of settle on you. Okay, here we have one of the females. She's looking quite thick there, actually. She might be pregnant. Might be able to have some more babies. So usually when you try and pick them up, you get that little hissing sound. There you go. They don't actually bite. They're quite harmless. But I'll keep these pretty much the same way as I keep the Dubia roaches. Need to get them a bigger enclosure now, obviously, as they're starting to become more of them. One thing I'll say though, if you're going to keep these Madagascan hissing roaches, is that you got to be careful that they can climb. Now, when they have babies, obviously the enclosure is important as to what you've got on the top, because these fine mesh here, they will actually climb through these. They're quite good at that. So I tend to use something like this mosquito netting, just to give it a little bit more security. So if they do climb, then they're not going to escape. Otherwise, last thing you want is these running around all over the place, getting infestation in your house. But if you keep them fed and the temperature's right, most of the time they'll settle in there. They won't be looking to try and escape because they'll be quite happy. They know that the food's coming in, the temperatures are right, so they're nice and cosy, and then they'll breed for you quite easily. There's no real difficult signs to it. So the key thing really is the temperature being in the mid to high 20s at the most. You don't really go in over 29 degrees, say maybe even 28 at the most. But you need to have some sort of cool variation. So obviously with these, I'll probably keep them around the mid 20s, and they seem to like it. That's fine for them. And obviously keep that fresh food coming in every couple of days. I'll put little bits of food in, and then if there's any leftovers, then just get rid of that. But other than that, it's very little maintenance to keep them. I don't actually use these ones as live food. These ones are just ones that I keep. But the Dubia roaches, then obviously I would use them as live food. Okay, another thing I would say, that if you're going to use them as feeder insects for any of your lizards, then you need to be careful what you're feeding them, because you've got to think about the diet of the lizard that you're using them as feeder insects for. So obviously citrusy things like oranges is probably something you want to try and avoid. Always look at what's safe for your lizard, because what they eat essentially is what your lizard is eating. So safe things could be like, I think, leafy greens like spinach, kale, apples, bananas, carrots, those sort of things are probably safer. But always check the diet of your particular species of lizard, because obviously not every lizard is the same. So that's something you've got to be considering. If you're just keeping them as to breed, then the roaches themselves, then obviously citrusy things like oranges is fine. It's not an issue. But just think about when you're gut loading, what's safe. I can't stress that enough. Obviously, you've probably seen these guys in the video behind me. This is Thor, he's the male blue tree monitor. And here we've got Hella, it's the female. I've had these two together now for a couple of years. But these are really good lizards to keep. If you've got the finances for it, the size, and obviously you can afford large enclosure, then very rewarding to keep. Very clever, but very food driven. Obviously just chilling basket at the moment, but I'm just going to show you a quick clip of them eating, and end of the video. If any questions, comments, then feel free to get in touch. Leave me any comments and I'll try and answer any questions you've got. And thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more. I'm going to leave you with a video of these guys eating small mice, which are thawed and thawed.